Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over and demoing some new brushes, at least new to me, and they are from Bristles Beauty. These were sent to me in PR and I apologize in advance if they've been sitting in my PO box for a while. I got a message, a text message from one of the women that works at the post office, and she was like, hey girl, do you want these or no? I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad about going to my PO box. Like, I don't know something's in there. I've been really bad about it lately, but I got these. And as I was taking them out of the bags, I think they all came in little bags, I was feeling them. I was like, these are really nice. And then I started to read all the information they gave me. I was like, we're gonna play with these today, and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts as well as some comparisons to things that I already have in my collection, so that hopefully it will help you guys out as well to know just how big or small or what sizes these brushes are in comparison to others. Before I get into the demo where I'm using all of these, I'm going to just give you a little bit of information about them. As I go through the demo, I'll talk about each individual brush, what they're used for, and the price. Bristles Beauty is run by a mother and daughter duo, which I absolutely love. It's Brie and Nie. I don't know if it's N-I-E, so I don't know if it's Nie or Nye, but either way, it's a beautiful name. But Brie and Nie, obviously, like, oh, it rhymes. It reads, together we are committed to bringing beauty lovers brushes that will last a lifetime. I need that. I need my brushes to last because I use them and use them and use them. And we want luxury brushes to be attainable for everyone. Our brushes are made in Japan using a decades-old artisan process, crafted entirely by hand. So each of these brushes are all handmade. Each brush takes 80 steps to create, including each bristle being combed, vetted, and carefully chosen for each brush. The actual bristles on the brushes are never trimmed, which in my opinion leads to a softer finish. Like, you don't get that itchy, scratchy feel that you can sometimes get out of natural hair brushes. These are incredibly soft. It goes on to read that although some other luxury brushes use the same production process of not cutting the bristles, the difference between them and Bristles Beauty is the makeup cost. While most luxury beauty brushes are marked up as much as 3,000%, I didn't know that. Wow. Bristles Beauty keeps the cost of our luxury brushes much more affordable. They also gave me a little affiliate code right here on the paper, which is Mel in all caps, and you get 15% off. So if you're interested in these, use the code and save yourself some money. And obviously, affiliate, I will make a commission. All right, let's go ahead and play in some brushes, or with. You can't play in, play with some brushes. The first brush I'm going to go in with is this F08AM. The shape and length is angled and medium. It's for highlighting and contouring, although you definitely could use this brush for other things. And it retails for $28 US or 36 Canadian. Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Medium 2. And that brush, I'm just going to swirl in here. Do you see this hole I have in my pan? Just start on the side. I like to use circular motions to blend in. This is applying the bronzer very precisely. The bristles are soft. I will say that I prefer to use something else for bronzer, something just a little bit bigger. And I know that this will start to kind of spread out as I wash it and as I use it. But this is still something I would use more along the lines of blush. If I contoured, I would definitely be able to use this right underneath the cheekbones for a really precise application, but I like to go in circles and blend everything out for just a more bronze type of look. I hate when I do my hair before I put on my bronzer. I have to like lift it up. This brush is really nice for getting right up against the hairline, into the hairline, move, and then right on the sides of my big old forehead. Next up, the F09RM. The brush shape and length is round medium, and the use is for placing and blending on the cheeks, $28 US, 36 Canadian. I'm gonna reach inside my much loved Overlust palette, and I'm gonna grab a mixture of these two shades. I really like the shape of this brush. Like I can blend in circular motions, but also press the product into the skin if I wanted to. And this would also really chisel out a cheek. The next brush is the EO1DL, and I'm going to use this for highlighting, though it's actually an eye brush. The shape is domed, length long, and the use is for ultra soft blending. Price tag $19 US and 24 Canadian. Favorite highlighter of all time, Holo Pink from DIOR. I'm just going back in with the F09RM and no additional product. I'm just blending the blush and the highlight together. I don't have another one of those pointy brushes that I just used for my highlight because that would have been perfect for just doing this little bit of buffing underneath the eyes, going over the edge of the highlight. This is the By Terry powder in Rosy Light. For my eyes, I'm going to demo the brushes using my Hourglass MUFE palette. First going in with the EO2RL. Shape is round and long. Use, effortlessly placing and diffusing. The cost is $18 US and 23 Canadian. I'm going to start off with this shade right here. Placing this on the outer corner. This brush reminds me of like the, kind of like the Refer 01. I don't think it's quite as fluffy as that one. And the original MAC 227, but this one seems softer than the 227. I like that it's pinched. I like that it's flat, but then you can use it this way to blend. These brushes are really impressing me so far. I could easily take this and use it flat and go all over my lid as well. Using the same brush, I'm now going to grab this color, deepening up this outer V and the crease. Next up, we have the EO3DM, domed and medium, perfect for crease blending, $17 US, 22 Canadian. I'm going to dip into the first shade that we used, buff this all along the lower lash line. Same brush, darkest shade. I'm going to tap this on the very outer corner, blending upward. This is one of the brushes that I am the most excited to play with and to have in my collection. I love the size of it and the shape. I have things that are similar to it, but nothing exact. This is the P06RF. It's round and flat. It's used to place, pat, and pack. It's $16 US and 21 Canadian. I'm first going to take it with the lightest shade in the palette, and I am going to use this right at my brow arch. And then I'm going to use it to pick up this shade. I am going to place this on the lid, just the front portion of my lid. EO5PS pointed pencil, pointed and short, pencil for precise blending, $15 US, 19 Canadian. Grabbing the darkest shade again, I'm going to look down and tap this right at my lash line. I don't want it to be really dark, I want to smudge it out. EO4RS, round and short, made easy for smudging, $16 US, 21 Canadian. Going in with that same dark shade, and I'm going to smudge this right across the lower lash line. The last brush is the P07P. It is pointed, made for precise liner and strokes, $14 US, $18 Canadian, and I'm quickly going to go apply my liner off camera. Opinion time! I'm going to start off with this little liner brush. What number are you? P07P. This is the last one that I used that you guys didn't actually get to see because I wanted to be smack up against my mirror and I wanted to get as close to the lash line as possible, and I wanted to see how easy it actually achieved that, and it did it very, very effortlessly. I have this liner, which happens to be from DANESSA MYRICKS. It is the waterproof cushion color in black. Use this and just went right up against my lashes, and it applies so nicely. I'm very happy with this brush. Let me show you some comparisons. I pulled out two other liner brushes. One is the MAC 210, which just does not have the point that this brush has. Let me see. The Bristles Beauty one, it just has this really perfected, really nice tip to it, whereas the 210 is just kind of straight up and down. The MAC 209 is fatter. So there you guys go for those. Then we have the small angled brush, the F08AM, and then here we have the Rephr 4. You can see that the Rephr 1 is larger than the Bristles Beauty. I can't get these to stay still. So you can see there, this one will fluff up more. It's only been washed once, but I anticipate it fluffing up just a little bit more, but I don't think it will get as big as the 4 from Rephr. P09RM, this is the one that I used for my blush, and I really like the shape of this. I don't have anything that's quite as like rectangular or as pinched or even the size. The closest thing that I could even think about with that pinched feeling is from Sonia G. This is the Designer Pro. They are not the same at all in terms of like the actual brush, but the only reason why I picked up this one is because the Designer Pro is pinched just like this one is. And so I'm able to do that kind of packing or circular motion that I'm able to do with this brush as well. But again, I just don't have one that is shaped like this. Not that I can think of. And I've got the BK Beauty, the 107, but as you can see, it is pinched and it does have more of like, this one's a little bit more square and it kind of fans out a little bit, but it's far bigger than this one, and this one's synthetic and this one's natural hair. Next up, the EO1DL. I do have a few brushes that are similar to this, but I couldn't find all of them. I do have one that is almost dead on, and it's from Wayne Goss, number 16. I would say that the biggest difference between these two is that I think that the tip, the actual taper of the Wayne Goss one is just a little bit finer. It's like a little bit more pinched than what the one from Bristles Beauty is. I use this to highlight, but this is actually a brush that I really like to take through my crease when I'm just like blending out a color all over. I like to use this kind of brush for the sides of my nose, underneath my lip to add a little bit of shape. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful brush. This is the one I think everybody will love, and it is the EO2RL. I have several to compare. The first one is the 26S from Wayne Goss. The shape is almost identical, almost, not quite, and my Wayne Goss one is dirty. But the biggest difference is that the Wayne Goss one right here, the S stands for synthetic. So this brush is a synthetic brush, and again, natural hair. Another similar brush is the Chikuhodo T7. This one's a little smaller and a little bit more pinched than what this one is. The Zoeva 227, this one's definitely more fluffy, and it has less of that like roundness at the top where it kind of comes, not to a point, but it's just kind of more rounded and slight point. This one is flat straight across. The infamous MAC 217, and then the Rephr number 1 right here. Again, this one is just a tad bit more fluffy. Another one of my go-tos is a brush of this size because I like to have something to go right on the outer corner, blend, but be a little bit more precise. I like this to go right along the lower lash line. I just love a shorter, stumpy kind of blending brush. And this is number EO3DL. I first want to show you that this brush is not as long as the MAC 221. This is the original natural hair version, or the Refer number 14 and the Weingauss 19. These are all along the lines of a fluffier outside corner crease blending brush. Now this one is shorter, so if you can see, it's shorter than all of those. So it's more like the Refer 13 and the Weingauss number 20. Both of these they're like the exact same height. They have very similar density. I would say that this one is just a hair denser than what the other two are, but again, very, very similar, and I love this style of brush. I can never have enough. I feel like I never have enough brushes in general, which I do. I have a ton of them, but it's just like I'm doing makeup so often. Sometimes I film more than one time a day. I change my makeup and all that stuff. So I like to have multiples of certain brushes or certain styles. So this was a very, 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 very appreciated and welcomed gift into this house. Yes, I needed some more brushes. All right, next up, I am grabbing the Smudger EO4RS. I don't have a ton of brushes like this, but I picked up the two that I use the most often. This is from Royal & Lang Nickel. It is the BOM 18. The Royal & Lang Nickel one is less square and it's more rounded at the top. And then we have the Royal & Lang Nickel BOM 402, and this one is bigger overall, and again, it is rounded at the top. It's not as square. Two more brushes. This pencil brush right here, the EO5PS. This one has a really great shape because it is not too big for the eyes, like doing the eyeshadow like I did right at the top lash line, or it's not too big for the lower lash line, but it's also not so small that it's going to be like aggravating trying to get product laid down. It's not as big as the MAC 219. This one's fatter and a little bit taller. Or longer. The Royal & Lang Nickel BOM 435. This one is very similar. The biggest difference is that the Royal & Lang Nickel one isn't as long as the Bristles Beauty. The closest thing is the Refer number 3, which you guys always hear me talk about. Both of these are really, really incredible. I love this style of brush for the lower lash line, and like I did today, applying the little bit of shadow right up against my lashes. It's just perfect. And then lastly, not least, this is one of my favorite brushes in the collection, and it is the P06RF. Let me show you my comparisons. I have things that are close, but just not quite there. First up, again, Royal & Lang Nickel BOM 601. This one is more rounded and it's just not as, like this one has a nice amount of bend to it, which really allows for just applying product so nicely. If it's too dense, it's harder to go in and add shadow and just kind of bounce it on there or blend it in. I find that having that little bit of flexibility tends to have a better application. And then, one of my favorites, the Sonia G Flat Definer. This one is just a little bit bigger, it's a little bit longer, and it's rounded out. This one is just, it has the same kind of flexibility to it. So this is what I would say, like the way it feels, they're both really soft, they both have flex. It's just the shape of the brush is different. The absolute closest thing that I have in my collection is the MAC 228, which I don't know if they discontinued, but I do know that it's no longer the natural hair. This one, again, a little bit more rounded, and this one is square, so there's the biggest difference there. And then I just wanted to show you, just for size comparison, up against my eSum W21. I'm looking at the wrong end of the brush. Yes, W21. I want to show you side by side so you can see that this one is bigger than the Bristles Beauty. I'm impressed, you guys. I think that these are beautiful. They lay down the product very beautifully. They're very soft, but not too soft to where they're not going to pick up or lay down product. So that can happen, trust me. But they're not itchy, scratchy either. Now, I've only washed these once. I do believe that they're going to continue to fluff up, and I will definitely keep you guys updated if I notice any shedding or anything like that. I did not notice that with my first wash. I didn't notice anything falling on my face while I was applying my makeup. I feel like everything applied how it should. My shadow, my blush, my highlight, everything just went on really nicely. My favorites of the bunch are the EO2 RL, the obviously the PO6 RF. That's one thing that I'm not loving are the names, which is very reminiscent to Refer. They did their prototype program, so you would get a P07A or this or that, but it was the prototype. I feel like I should get on and see if that's happening so I don't sound really ridiculous. Hold on. Okay, I didn't see anything, but I might have missed it, but I didn't see anything. All right, moving on. So these two, definitely favorites. And then obviously this one, the EO3DM, the smaller one. I love the pencil brush. This pencil brush right here. And I mean, I really like this blush one. The one that I used for bronzer, I'm gonna end up using this much more for blush. I just like to have something a little bit bigger than this when it comes to bronzer, but I did really enjoy it up at my forehead. And I mean, I just like them all. There's not a single brush in here that I'm not going to use. The one that I'll get the least amount of use out of, I feel like it'll be this one because I just don't use this style a lot, but it is a good brush and it goes right up against the lash line really nicely. But I just think it's really, really great. This is just about a full set. The only thing that I would really add to this is a larger powder brush. And then this is everything that you would possibly need. But yeah, I'm impressed. I think these are beautiful. I think that they are really well made, and I hope that they do what they say and last a lifetime. I think a lifetime is a little bit much to ask, but you know, 10 years. But I'll keep you guys updated. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.